All right. How we doing, guys? First time doing this type of thing. So if you are in and around, let me know you're around by throwing something in the chat. Say good day. We'll get into this pretty quickly as I have got a fair bit to get through. So guys, this is all going to be about creating the right mindset for a healthy lifestyle, as I do believe that this is an area of health and fitness that gets left behind fairly often. Now, I do have some slides for this stuff just to go through it a bit quicker, or to help you guys understand things a little bit clearer, as there will be a fair bit of talking on my end, obviously. And if you're just listening to my voice, I can imagine that getting pretty monotonous, although I'll do my best to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, guys, so I'll get these slides up. And so obviously, this is where we are, guys, mindset of a healthy lifestyle. So the first thing I wanted to go through with people was just understanding that changing your relationship with exercise. And so the negative stories that we sort of tell ourselves and the negative frame in which we look at exercise can really have an impact on your results from the get-go. And so what I've got here are just a bunch of words that people usually associate with exercise. And as you'll see, they don't really paint it in the greatest light. And one thing that we know is while we have things known as the placebo effect, which is for a lot of you out there probably already realized with the placebo effect, it's thinking that you're getting a benefit from something when it's actually giving you no benefit at all. And we also have the nocebo effect, which is basically going in with the mindset that whatever it is, it won't help you. And if you go in with that negative mindset, well, then you're probably going to end up with the negative results. So the first few words, so we have sweaty, that usually leads to being uncomfortable for a lot of people when they exercise. There's pain, whether that's during or after. Obviously, DOMS is very real. That's not something that goes away in the end either, although it does become far more manageable. Weight loss is another one for exercise. We usually see it as the tool that we need to use in order to lose weight, when there is so much more that sort of falls into those things and helps us get to those types of goals. And then that exercise is difficult. Which of course early on, if you're used to not training much at all, those few first workouts are going to be difficult, and that's okay. But we don't want to keep our frame in that negative light with exercise. And so for myself, I'm going to share with you guys some words that I like to associate with exercise that definitely help me stay motivated. And the first one is being health. For me, health is one of my #1 priorities and values in life. There is not much that I won't do to go out of my way to do something to help that I know is actually going to help my health in the long run. Longevity, and this is a massive one for me. So I'm 31, and I still remember being told when I was sort of 23, 24, wait till you're 30. You're not going to be able to do what you're doing. And I can happily say that I've called you out on that one, because I'm still doing all the things that I used to be doing when I was 23, 24. And sure, that may get difficult as I get older from here. Two people that I'm really looking up to at the moment in regards to this. The first one is Dan Millman, who is also an author. So if anyone's read The Peaceful Warrior is one of his books. If you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend doing that. I heard an interview with Dan Millman only a couple of years ago, and he was in his 70s, still doing handstand push-ups nearly every day. And so if that's not proof that looking after yourselves comes with benefits later on in life, I'm not sure what else you want to see. And something that's a little bit more recent is Mike Tyson. So I don't know if you guys have seen the footage of this man training, but he's 53. He hasn't boxed professionally in over 20 years, and he still looks like one of the most dangerous men on the planet. And that's just one of those things that comes with looking after yourself, is that longevity and being able to do things that are good for you and are going to keep you moving throughout the rest of your life. Happiness, we all know the associations between people who live active lifestyles and their happiness and the effects it can have on mental health and staying in a positive mind. Play, and this is where incidental exercise comes into play. And so these are things like surfing, for me, snowboarding, hiking. These are things that I enjoy doing, but they're also a form of exercise that keep me active. And so having these types of things associated with exercise definitely helps me live a more active lifestyle. And the last one is self-improvement. So with self-improvement, This came mainly through lifting, like my powerlifting and heavy lifting days back when I was a bit younger. But for me, just doing the hard thing. There is something that comes with doing something that you know is difficult and getting it done. So, for example, I've never done a workout and came out in a worse mood than when I went in. That in itself is something that's really powerful, and it always motivates me to keep moving. Guys, this is a quote that I definitely use a lot. Your health dictates how long you spend on this planet. It only makes sense that you look after it. Obviously, this is void of any tragic illness or accidents. But at the end of the day, this is the story. And understanding this really does help drive a more positive mindset towards creating a healthier lifestyle. Okay, so active versus reactive living. So we'll go through in this quickly. We're just going to quickly go into reactive living. And so basically that's finding out that you have a problem and deciding that things need to change. So this is a common client for myself that I see is they come in and they have the piece of paper from the doctor that says it's time to lose weight. Living this way is only going to cause more problems than you're going to help. Sure, as long as you've got the motivation, once you have that piece of paper, you can create that change. However, a much more positive way of living is the active way of living, guys. And that is taking responsibility for your health and fitness now so that problems are less likely to arise in the future. This is the way I'm looking at my health at the moment. It's the way I plan to always look at things, and it's something I certainly encourage. And a really simple way of looking at this would be, do you train for a marathon leading up to the race, or do you wait till the gun goes off? Because if you're racing against everyone else and they've been training, they're going to be miles ahead of you, with you still trying to work it out as you go along. Obviously, I know which party I'd rather be in there. So this is a question that I like to raise to a lot of people. It's also a question that I get a variety of answers for. And so, does the man who relies on his blood pressure medication to maintain healthy blood pressure live a healthy life? This is also assuming that he understands that lifestyle changes will, in the end, get him off his blood pressure medication. And so for me, the answer to this question is ultimately no. And there is two main reasons for that. The first being that he has passed the responsibility of his health and fitness onto the doctor, the medication, or whatever it is that's there to keep him healthy. By passing on that responsibility, he's essentially playing a victim mentality. And this is one thing where a lot of people get caught up in, my life's more difficult, my circumstances. And of course, this comes back to a bit of the ego and having that voice in your head that tells you that you are special and that you can't achieve these things. Ultimately, with most of these conditions, and these are chronic conditions, so high blood pressure, high cholesterol, things like type 2 diabetes, lifestyle change does have an impact on these things. And by holding onto that victim mentality, people hold themselves back from actually being able to achieve things that are very, very real. And so what I like people to understand is that this guy owns the power himself to take responsibility and change his health and life through without medication. He owns that power, and that's something I really think is important for a lot of people to buy into, that no matter your circumstances, you have the power within you to change your health and fitness to a level. Sure, people are going to be starting at different points depending on where they are and a range of factors. But in the end, you alone have responsibility for this, and nobody can do it for you. And as I've mentioned, guys, with this guy, the lifestyle changes will get him off the medication. And so owning that power is far more important, and taking responsibility yourself for your health and fitness is certainly the way forward. So when people start their health and fitness journey, they usually think it's about trying to add more to their day, and that it's about going 100 kilometers an hour. So for myself, I'm up pretty early doing my meditation, my yoga, and my movement for the day. And so when people ask me at sort of 9 a.m, Josh, what have you been doing this morning? And I tell them everything I've done, they quickly become under this impression that I'm jamming heaps into my day. When in fact, for a lot of people with their health and fitness, usually might be doing less is the idea, especially with the way we lead very high-paced, stressful lives at the moment. So here's some things that people can actually start putting in play now to take that pressure off the mentality of trying to fit more in to be healthy. Taking time to rest. Your recovery is just as important as your workout, as you can see down the bottom there, especially early on. If you're not used to physical activity straight away from what you've been doing and you're working out every day, you're going to become physically exhausted very quickly. This is where incorporating things like yoga, stretching, Tai Chi, those less high impact, low intensity types of things really can play a role. And even the impact that these things can have on your mental health, this is where these things sort of come into play. So don't think it's always about trying to fit more in. Sometimes it's better to take more out and give yourself some space and some time. So guys, just the takeaways from this part of the presentation really quickly is think about the way you view exercise. Are you using a negative frame in the way that you're when you think about exercise and living healthily? Are you being active or reactive with the way that you're approaching your health and fitness? Are you taking responsibility or giving it away, which is a big one for a lot of people? And remember, it's not about how much you do. Sometimes less is more. So guys, moving on, it's getting into the right type of goals. So for a lot of people, the common goals that we see, they're mostly focused around weight loss or changing your physical appearance. And these are the common ones, mainly because the marketing in the fitness industry tells you that that's what you should need. A lot of the marketing in the fitness industry, especially if you're on social media and Instagram and things like that, you will see it is about losing large amounts of weight in a short amount of time. And we know that this doesn't work, but yet it's the marketing we get told. So essentially our brains associate the two, and that's where we end up. Okay. The other thing people do with their goals, and this is a big mistake people make, is they focus on the physical changes and they give them time restraints. So guys, it's usually people that'll come to me and it's, Josh, I need to lose weight by this date because it's my wedding. And generally they're not giving themselves enough time to lose the weight anyway. This creates a lot of pressure, not just on your, well, it puts the pressure on yourself, because usually when you start this type of thing, you'll tell people, oh, I'm going to lose 20 kilos before the wedding. Don't worry about it. And then so you've instantly put this time restraint on something. And when you haven't even given yourself enough time to do it, things are going to start to get a little bit edgy towards the end, and you're probably going to start looking for a more drastic measure. And what we know is these rapid weight loss techniques and these types of programs, they're very real and they're very simple to write for people. However, most people will put the weight back on with some extra, and there's metabolic damage that comes with it as well, which makes that second effort so much more difficult when it comes to creating that healthy change. The other thing, guys, with these common goals that people set for health and fitness is they're usually macro focused. They're usually a big goal like losing a large amount of weight. And that is something that's really hard to track. And so it's really hard to stay motivated when you're not seeing that momentum and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. So the answer to these, as we're sort of pointing out here, these aren't a really effective way of creating goals. And so what I'm doing with clients at the moment is we're starting with lifestyle goals. Things like staying hydrated, things like developing better sleeping habits, starting to exercise just a couple of days a week as opposed to overhauling your entire week and telling yourself that you're going to work out every day. Basic meal prep. I'm going to go into these in a little bit more detail in a bit, guys, so just bear with me. Usually when people think of meal prep, they think of having the 50 containers out in front of them, and it's fairly unrealistic. Elite athletes and sport and fitness models are pretty much the only people who should be living this way. For the average person, that type of meal prep is just not sustainable. And stress management, this is huge. Especially nowadays, we live very high-paced, fast lives, and living in a stress state all the time is not good for us. And this is why incorporating things like meditation or a conscious breathing habit is really, really beneficial. Why do we use these lifestyle goals as opposed to focusing on traditional weight loss or changing our body shape or size or whatever it is that we want to do? The reason I use these lifestyle goals is they are micro focused. So we're looking at daily activities, so things that you're going to do every day that are going to play a role. And so meditation that I just used before as an example is perfect for this. It's something that you can practice every day, and it's also something you're going to feel yourself getting better at. So this brings me to the second point, that the improvements are more noticeable on the micro level. Okay, usually, so if we go to sleep, for example, after changing your sleep habits and getting a better night's sleep for 2 to 3 days, you are going to find yourself more focused. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be less irritable. So these are things that you're going to start feeling straight away. Because you're going to feel these things, they're easier to track. And one thing to keep in mind is the big results. So when you hear people losing 20, 30, 40 kilos, we see the big result, but we don't see the details. And the big results are in the details. It's the little things that they do every day that create those goals. And the best thing here, guys, is creating inertia or momentum. So I'm actually just going to get rid of these slides here, and you guys can just see my head for a while. All right. So I want to talk about this creating momentum and inertia within your health and fitness journey. The reason being, it is really, really important. And so there was a really cool study that came out recently involving rats in a pipe. So basically what they did is they got two rats, put them in a pipe and made them push each other out. And so what they found is the rat that was successful in the first attempt was then more likely to be successful and more proactive in trying to achieve things. So not just in regards to the competition it was having, but when they released it back into its little rat maze and whatever it was doing, it became more proactive and more likely to succeed at the tasks that they gave it. So the most amazing thing about this is, so what they found is with the rat that won, its brain physiology changed compared to the one that lost. And so basically what they found is that winning beget winning. And so the more you win, the more you can create that momentum, you're more likely to find ways to help yourself get those little wins throughout the rest of the day. And when you can manage this at a micro level, you will take more pride in those smaller achievements every day as opposed to focusing on the big goal. Now, here's the thing. When they redid this experiment, but they sort of changed things a bit, where they actually pushed one of the rats from the back and gave it a hand, so it was always going to win the battle. Even in that scenario, the rat that won still stuck with that brain change. Okay, so they were still ended up in that positive mindset. What we're trying to do here by creating these micro goals is get you into that same mindset of what they're doing with the rats, okay? We want those little changes every day. So you will sit there and you can go, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. I can ride this wave of momentum. I've just got to do it again tomorrow. Okay. And this is something that's really important for people to understand. Those little wins, they add up. And in the end, you will have created a lifestyle. And that is the whole end goal here. People tell you can lose weight and get healthy without changing your lifestyle. But I'm sorry, the lifestyle that you have at the moment got you into the situation of I'm not happy where I am. And so it's made you create a change. So your lifestyle will have to change on some level, guys. So just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to jump back into these slides with you. Here we go. All right. So yeah, it's about those little wins every day, guys. All right. Lastly, with our goal setting, we want to make sure that the things that we're setting are skills that are going to stack. Okay. We want to start small. So we don't want to be working out going for the workout every day. Okay. That's a really easy way to get, we're going to end up physically exhausted, like we mentioned. It's also unrealistic in that other things will pop up. So even me, myself, I don't try and work out every day. That's an unrealistic goal. Things are going to happen all the time where I'm not going to get my workout in, or it's going to be compromised. I'm going to have to do something else, or it's going to have to be shortened. So realistically, starting small. So 2 to 3 days a week, that's where you want to start, because you can build from there. So give room for growth is the next point. Instead of trying to work out every day, you start with 3 days a week, so you can move on to those 4 or 5 days afterwards. Make sure that you're complementing the long-term goal. So having that long-term goal of wanting to lose, 20, 30 kilos, for example, there's nothing wrong with having that. However, it shouldn't be the main focus of what it is you're trying to do. focus on the lifestyle goals, those daily habits and things that you're going to do every day that are going to get you there. And you'll also find that during the journey that your priorities will change. So you'll probably find that the weight that you thought you wanted to lose, that's going to change. And so while you want to complement that goal, we don't want to be dedicated to it 100%, because things will change in our lives and our priorities will change as you start developing a healthier lifestyle. And lastly, guys, only start a new skill when you're ready, okay? There's no point trying to move on to working out 4 or 5 days a week if you haven't gotten down working out 3 days a week yet, okay? And a really simple way of thinking this is a gymnast, okay? There's no point starting something complex if the basics are lacking. And so if we think of a gymnast doing a double front with 3 twists, they're not going to learn how to do that without first learning how to do a normal front flip, are they? They're just not going to get there. You want to have those basics or the foundations in place, and then we can build from there. All right, guys. So takeaways on this one for you is focus on behavior, not a physical change. Avoid time restraints with your goals as well as much as you can. While they do create pressure and almost a sense of urgency to get things done, usually when it comes to health and fitness, it results in unhealthy ways of that coming out and chasing extreme measures to get to where we want to go. Start small, stay relevant to your big goal, and make sure that you're trying to implement skills that stack. All righty, guys. This is a big one. So why your lifestyle is more important than your workout. So this is usually, this is something that pops up a lot for me, and it's something that for my role in health and fitness at the moment and what it is that I want to achieve, it all came from this statistic, and that is more people are taking part in structured exercise than ever before, but yet we still have obesity and chronic conditions on the rise. This just straight away got me asking a question, I should say, of what are we missing? So if at a fundamental level, we understand that we need to eat better and move more, surely more people would be seeing results. And it's just not happening. And I honestly believe it's because we were told, oh, you don't need to change your lifestyle in order to lose weight and get healthy. And I just don't think that's the case. Your lifestyle is everything. And here's a really simple way of looking at this. A 60-minute workout is only 4% of your day. Okay, it's not much. And so if we assume that you are getting 8 hours of sleep in a night, and that is good quality sleep, then that's 32% of your day. So if we add that together, that's 36% of your day where you are essentially doing things that are good for your body. So if you're only doing that for 36% of the time, there is now 64% of your day in which you are doing other things. And whether or not they are good for you or bad for you is going to change depending on who you are. However, it's something to keep in mind. If you honestly believe that you can be filling your body with rubbish food and running around in a stressed state for that other 64%, I guarantee you that'll outweigh any good you do with your workout or your sleeping habits. So the whole lifestyle that you're living is really important. So it's really important to ask yourself, what else are you doing? So I touched on hydration before, and this is something that a lot of people sort of get a little bit shocked when they hear this. And I was a bit the same when I found out. So 80% of Australian adults walk around chronically dehydrated every day. So all day, every day, they are not getting enough water. Now, your body is mainly made up of water. It requires a lot of water in order to operate at an optimal level. And that's what we want. 80% of Australian adults are not getting enough, which means they are walking around at a suboptimal level every day without realizing it. So something really simple that you guys can action now is just making sure that you are getting in water as soon as you wake up. So when you sleep and you go through, your body's going through its cleansing process, you excrete a lot of water, which is generally why you need to go to the bathroom as soon as you wake up in the morning. For me, I try and get about a liter and a half within the first hour and a half of being awake. Now, I'm not sculling down bottles of water as much as it may sound that way. I want you to think of this like watering a plant. If you walk out with a big bucket of water into your little pot plant and you just pour it all on, it just floods and pools and doesn't absorb, and your body's the same. So we just want to add little bits over time. So we're just sipping that water throughout the morning. By getting that start in for that first hour and a half, I know through the day, as long as I've got my drink bottle on hand, I'm going to be fairly hydrated. I'm going to be feeling much, much better for it. Okay, so sleep. This is a massive one, guys. I touched on this before on how important sleep is. So with your sleep, if you get less than 6 hours of sleep for one night, your cardiovascular system is only going to function at around 70% the next day. So by simply sacrificing sleep, and sleep seems to be the thing that we're willing to sacrifice first in order to do something that doesn't optimize our health at all. And probably the easiest example of this is staying up and binge watching Netflix, knowing full well that you have to get up early the next day. You're sitting in front of a screen with blue light that is playing around with your sleep cycle anyway, and then you're actually making the conscious choice of sacrificing how much sleep you get. And so this comes down to how much you're getting. They say that's 7 to 9 hours. It's going to be different, and we are all going to be different. Even so, the difference between myself and my partner, Kiara, she seems to need an extra hour sleep compared to me. It's just who we are as people, and you guys are the same. Some people probably need that 9 to 10. For me, I can get by on 7, and I feel really good about it. But everyone's different. Your quality of sleep, guys. So this is a big one as well. So you have different cycles throughout your sleep, REM sleep being our nice deep sleep where a lot of the good stuff happens. So if you're someone who thinks that they need to drink in order to get a better night's sleep, you're actually inhibiting that process. So people that think, oh, I'll have a drink to make sure I get a good night's sleep, you actually won't get into that REM sleep, which is our nice deep dream state. And it's where the body does a lot of the cleaning, does a lot of the repairing, and where a lot of that rejuvenation takes place. So it's really important that the quality of sleep you're getting is really good as well. And the really good way to make sure that you're getting a good night's sleep, this is something you guys can take action on right now as well, is making sure that you have a bedtime and a wake time. Now, I'm not talking about going to bed at 8:30 and being asleep by 8:31. Okay, we're talking about within an hour. So for me, I am trying to get into bed and be asleep between 9 and 10 every day, and I am up between sort of 6 and 7. And I also try and wake up within 10 minutes of waking, I'm out of bed. So I'm not someone who's going to lay there, sit there on my phone and try and sort of wake myself up and G up before I get up. I get up straight away. And so that leads me to the next point of what are you doing when you first wake up? So what you do when you first wake up can have a really big impact on how you feel for the day. So the natural light that occurs at dawn and dusk will actually play a role in your body sleep cycle. So if you're waking up roughly when the sun's coming up, get yourself outside. That's that sunlight and the way that it's in the air at that time, your body reacts to that. And so it will start slowly getting you ready for the day. And obviously, alternatively, in the afternoon, if you're out and about as the sun is setting, that's also a big one. So you don't need to go watch the sunset, for example. Simply just being outside as the light dims, your body will already start getting your body ready for sleep based on being in that light alone. So what you're doing when you first wake up and before you're going to bed is 2 really important things. Before you go to bed, avoid that blue light. I can't stress that one enough. Put the phone down, stop watching TV at least half an hour before you're going to bed, guys. Read a book, go have a shower, something like that, when you don't have those things in your face. All right, guys, stress management. Now, this is huge. I've obviously been harping on about this. So we do live in 2 different states, essentially. There are some others, but the 2 that we sort of know most about are our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. So the sympathetic nervous system, or more commonly known as our fight or flight, okay, there are a lot of people walking around living in this state all day, every day, and it was never designed for this. Things that happen, as you can see there, it increases your heart rate, cortisol is released to your brain, the blood is actually rushed away from your brain and from your prefrontal cortex. So that means that's the sort of cognitive thinking part of your brain. We're taking blood away from there and from our other major organs, and we're rushing it towards our extremities, so our legs and our arms. Obviously, our fight or flight response, we think of this evolutionary. You hear a rustle in the bushes, you are either getting ready to fight something or maybe go after it because it's dinner, or maybe you're getting ready to run. Either way, you're going to want the blood in your legs and in your arms ready to go. So what this does though, this was only ever designed to be lived in for a really short amount of time, obviously. But because of the way our lives are so fast paced, there's a lot of pressure with work and family. There's people who constantly live in this state. And with the blood rushing away from your brain and other organs, obviously they're not going to function at an optimal level. So if you're someone who is constantly stressed, someone who is always thinking about the next thing you've got to do, or you're at just a heightened peak of just awareness all the time, you're just jittery, living a stressed life, you are going to make stupid decisions. Okay. Very, very simple. You're not getting the blood to your brain that you need. And so the decisions that you're making every day are impacted by this. So alternatively, the other state that we want to be in is with our parasympathetic nervous system. This is our rest and digest. So what happens here is our heart rate decreases. We have an increase in digestion. The blood comes back to the center of the body again into our digestive system, and our body starts to prioritize cleaning. So this obviously results in an increase in urine production, mucus, saliva production, that type of thing, as the body starts to clean out. Now, the interesting thing here is that we can actually alter which one of these that we get in simply on our breathing alone. And this is why having meditation or a conscious breathing practice is really important. So simply by changing my breathing from my chest and my shoulders to my diaphragm and breathing from my belly, I will change your physiology from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic simply by changing your breath. So all you need to do is start breathing from your diaphragm more often and being more aware of that, and you will take yourself out of the sympathetic nervous response. It is such a powerful thing, and the impacts that this has on your health is massive. So if you are going to start anything, guys, it's this awareness of your breathing and how you're acting every day. If you find yourself in a stressful situation, and I don't know if you might have heard me doing this throughout the presentation. It's my first time doing something like this, so I am quite nervous. And so one thing I've been doing is just simple breathing techniques where I breathe in through my nose and just out through my nose. But I'm focusing on breathing from my belly, which is probably why you can't see my shoulders going up and down when I do this. It just helps calm everything down. My heart rate decreases. Obviously, I start speaking a little bit slower. The impact that this will have on your overall health is huge, and I cannot enforce it enough. Please start paying attention to this. Okay, guys, takeaways from this one. Remember, it's not just about working out more or eating less. There is a variety of lifestyle factors to consider. Do not underestimate the impact that these things will have on your health. As we spoke about with the big things of weight loss, like 30 kilos, 40 kilos, we see them and we think it's amazing. And we just instantly think that it was all about the food they ate and the workouts they did. When realistically, it did sort of tie back in. Everything's in the details. I guarantee you there's more to it than that. And they made other small changes that they probably aren't giving enough credit to if they're telling you they didn't. But these little things they really do make a big, big difference. All right, guys, it's a life game. So we're getting towards the end of this. Your health and fitness doesn't plateau. It would be absolutely amazing if we could get ourselves to a level where our health just sort of, say you're 25 and you can run a 5-minute K for 5Ks and you feel really good and you just got to keep all that. It'd be great. But the fact is, it is a fact of use it or lose it when it comes to health and fitness. The more that you do, the more benefit you're going to see and the more benefit you're going to get when you're older. And as you age, we definitely live in a society where I see it's this mentality of, as you get older, you should do less because you've worked hard, because you've already lived your life. So you should just relax for the back end of it. When in reality, the opposite is true. If you want to live a happy, healthy, independent life, then you need to keep moving and looking after your health and fitness. And that comes with both mental and physical, guys. As we've touched on, you always need to look after this thing. If it got to a level where it just stayed there and we got to keep it, it'd be unreal. Everyone would just stop working out after they're about 30 years old. Once they leave their prime, why would you bother? It's not just about 6 or 12 weeks. All right. So a lot of health and fitness programs out there are based around sort of that 6, 8 or 12 week time frame, which, I'll be honest, even with my personal training packages, they come out in 8 and 12 week blocks. However, the reason I do that is the amount of time that I think you should be working and be committed to start seeing a change. A lot of programs out there will just give you your exercise and your diet and then off you go and you're not really learning anything. It's really important, as if there's any trainers out there listening to this, it's about education, okay? sure, repeat business is great, and we're all trying to run a business. Okay, we are. But at the end of the day, I personally don't want to see my clients come back. If they need to come back for like a bit of a catch up, sure, that's great. Where people are going to slip and need more advice. But in that 8 to 12 weeks, my plan is to give you the education and tools that you need so you don't need to keep working with me, because that's the goal. It's about creating this lifestyle that works for you. Guys, think about what's sustainable. Okay, this is something, especially with workouts, and I was talking about longevity earlier. What is sustainable? If the workouts that you're doing now are already causing you to wake up in pain, and I don't just mean sort of like that muscle soreness we get from a workout, I mean genuine joint pain or back pain, then it's not sustainable. If the diet that you're using to lose weight isn't something that you can maintain after you've reached your goal, then it's not sustainable. These need to be things that you can do for the rest of your life. You're always going to have to look after your health and fitness. So make sure whatever it is that you're doing and whatever changes you make, that they are sustainable. So as I just said, can you keep living, eating, training the way that you are currently? That is the important thing for you guys to really ask yourselves. So guys, now what? That's it. I'm going to get out of this screen again so I can see you all again. All right. So yeah, guys, moving forward, I would hope from this presentation that what you've gotten from this is a change in the way that you not only approach health and fitness, but understanding that when it comes to the way that you set your goals, the lifestyle choices that you're going to make, the lifestyle factors that actually influence your health and fitness, these are all things that play a role. From here, I would hope that you have changed your relationship with exercise a bit, or maybe you've got something to think about. But other than that, guys, if you guys want to follow me on social media, everything's just at JDrinkPT. That's the easiest way to find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm slowly getting into the others. Other than that, guys, that's it from me. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you all soon. Cheers. All right. Guys, actually, we do have a bit of time left. So if there's anyone around, I'm not really sure if there's people in the chat or questions, but if you have any questions on anything that we just covered, please feel free to ask away in the chat, and I'm more than happy to answer anything that you guys might have on the mindset or even just health and fitness in general, guys. I'm quite happy to help out. So if there's anything there, feel free to type something in. If not, I may very well just finish this thing up. Got one Q&A, great stuff. Awesome, Mick. No worries, mate. Well, I'll get in contact and we will sort something out with you, mate, for sure. Okay. All right, guys. Looks like that might be it. Okay. Well, Mick, that sounds great. I'm going to expect a message from me as soon as I get off here, mate. I'll sort out what I need to sort out on this end, and then I'm going to send you a message. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out and listening in. I hope you got something out of it. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Stay present. Cheers.